Ladies and gentlemen, 'tis the season, is it not? Welcome to Career Retrospective. Tonight, as you can see, we are going to be taking on WWE's resident Santa Claus, jolly old Saint Mick Foley. How's everybody doing tonight? We got Shadow joining us, as always. Underneath me, you can see jolly old Saint Simp, Sean. Joining us tonight for the first time. Why don't you introduce yourself, Rusty?
Hi, I'm Rusty Blackwell, the Backwoods Butcher. I'm a pro wrestler that works out of Sturgeon Falls, Ontario, Canada. And I'm really happy to be here to talk about one of my wrestling idols, Mick Foley.
I mean, you kind of look like Terry Funk.
I'll take it.
Wait, this wasn't Terry? Cameo lied to me.
Tell me Santa Claus can't afford Turtle Beaches. Get out of here. Anyways, this is where, Sammy, you're just in time. This is kind of the part where we're going to get right into the roundtable discussion. This is where we'll get all into our own personal opinions on Mick Foley, jolly old Saint Mick, and just kind of debate a little bit. So we'll see. We'll start off with good old Santa Claus over there. Santa, why don't you take Mick Foley's in-ring work and give me a rating on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, Saint Mick! I love watching him from the North Pole when I'm off for the season. You know, I love going back watching old Mick Foley tapes, and I think his in-ring work is a great solid 8 out of 10. I think it's a little bit more tuning, but a great out of 10 for the good boy.
Oh my God!
I can't.
Rusty, will slide it over to you, my man.
I'm gonna go like 10, but I'm biased. I mean, he's a larger, heavier set guy, and he can still do a lot of the chain wrestling and grappling. He still moves fast. That's a big accomplishment. He moves a hell of a lot faster than I can. So I'll say that that's my opinion. Yeah, he does for his size, for his body type. I think top of the line.
Absolutely. Shadow, how about you?
Good to know I'm going to be the asshole here, but I'm giving him a 6.
Okay. I mean, you usually are, so it's okay.
To Rusty's point, yes, he's a bigger guy like us and can go and can do these things well. But for me, the athleticism, while he can do certain things, is just not there. So I feel like it's a 6 for me. And that's just being generous because of what he has done to put over other wrestlers in that process. So, yeah.
Okay. Sammy, what about you?
What are we talking about?
In-ring ability, yes.
I'm gonna say I was saying like a 7 or 8. He's not the greatest technical wrestler, but he's one of the great brawler wrestlers, if you know what I mean. He's good at brawling, I like that. So I would say if it was just brawling, I would give him a 9, absolutely. But just regular in-ring work, I'll give it a 7, 8.
Okay. So for me, I put it at an 8 as well. Foley, he's not no one's going to confuse him for one of the Hart members or someone like that, or Eddie Guerrero. Mick Foley, when he was in the ring, you know what you were going to get. You were going to get a fiery fight, regardless of whatever the match was. He's going to bring that fire every single time he brought that fire. And he could get, whether or not a 5-star match is, happening with Mick Foley. Some of them were legitimate 5-star matches, absolutely. But it's not what you expected out of Mick Foley, but you expected Mick Foley to bring the best out of the person he was working with. And for that, he did that every time there was a big stage. He helped make The Undertaker's career. I firmly believe that Undertaker would be nowhere near as successful as he was without Mick Foley. Triple H, I believe Triple H's feud with Mick Foley in the late 90s helped cement Triple H as a main event star.
And then he solidified Edge as a complete package.
Edge as a main event act. So, think about Stone Cold and The Rock. Those are two guys who were going to be solidified as main event acts anyways. Undertaker, his career was not going well in the mid 90s. Like, it was going okay, but it wasn't where it was when he first won the WWF title from Hulk Hogan. He had taken a big downward turn, and he was getting kind of boring. Like, people were kind of bored with him. And then Mick Foley comes along as this deranged psychopath, and I don't know. Mick Foley just brought the best out of everyone he worked with. I would credit him with helping solidify Randy Orton as well, because their feud was criminally underrated.
2004.
Mm-hmm. What was that? The Royal Rumble, and he came running in and eliminated himself and Randy Orton at the same time. That was awesome.
Yeah. No,
they had
it
a
was
really
awesome.
good match together too. Excuse me. So this is where I think we're all going to be pretty close to unanimous on our decisions. I'm going to say his promo work. Santa Claus.
Oh, there's my favorite Wheezy Blonde. Oh.
What's up, Max? Santa, you going to talk about his promo work?
Oh, yes. Sorry. His promo work. I mean, I love his promo work. But sometimes it could be a little bit much. I'll give him another 8 out of 10. Depending on whether he's a babyface or a heel. So Santa doesn't like to be too mean on people.
Listen, the Lex offender is here, so Santa's all tongue twisted.
Jesus Christ!
I love that for you. Excuse me. All right, Rusty, how about you, my man?
I've always thought Mick's promo work was top notch. I'll say 9 because I want to try to be harder on myself, but I think that when Dude Love and Mankind were on the screen in '97, introducing Cactus Jack into WWE for the first time, even though that seems a little strange looking back at it now, because it's like, obviously like I was almost, I was like 18 or something at the time. I think about it being like, I thought of how, like, if I was a little kid at the time, I would question whether they were different people. And I remember thinking, I wonder if people actually wonder if if Dude Love is not Cactus Jack, like if those are different people because they're on the screen at the same time. And I know that sounds kind of silly now, but thinking about that then, going like, I bet you there's kids in the audience that think that these are 3 different people. And I liked that because it was like they did the promo so well. And then when he came out, it was like, Dude Love can't do like a street fight because he's like, I can't do that. That's not my scene. But I know somebody that can, and I was like, I don't know. I thought it was great. So we'll say 9 out of 10. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Shadow, what do you think?
For me, it's an 8 because I believe, like, to everybody's point so far, he could tell a story. Like, he might have taken a while to get there, but he took you on that roller coaster to believe what you were hearing and seeing. So for me, it's an 8. I think that's a pretty solid number for him. I mean, you take away, he did have some rough promos, and I contribute that to the many headshots that he's taken. So yeah, I think 8's fair.
Absolutely. Sammy, how about you?
I think he's good, like Paul Heyman. Like, Paul Heyman is a great storyteller, and so is Mick Foley. I'm gonna give him a 9. He's really gifted and he's compelling in the ring with his stories. I think he's a better storyteller and on the mic than he is, I want to say, not wrestler, but like he can talk like Paul Heyman, He's still a great wrestler, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's way better at his mic work. So I give him a 9.
All right. Absolutely. I gave him a 9 simply because when he talked, people listened, and he kind of just commanded the attention. He's the kind of guy who could command attention away from the Undertaker when they're standing in the same ring. He could command the attention away from pretty much anybody if he wanted to. He could tell you an incredible story. One promo that I highly recommend, I think it was 2006. He was sitting in a chair in the ring, and he had blood on his head and stuff. And he started talking about how ECW sucked, and he was talking about the steaming cesspool that is the Hammerstein Ballroom. If you ever get a chance to watch that promo, that's an excellent promo. Another one that I really liked from him, if I can just find it really quick. The This Is Your Life, obviously. That's the highest rated segment in Monday Night Raw history. Mick Foley led that entire segment. That was all him. The Rock was a side player in that that segment. And that's just but it was the promo that he was talking about his upcoming match with The Undertaker. He was warning women and children to not watch it. It was going to be just an absolute torture fest, and disgusting things were going to happen. He said something about, do you know what it's like to sit on an airplane for 14 hours with the smell of charred flesh in your nose? Like, that's fucked up. He could say some fucked up stuff and get away with it. And he could be absolutely chilling and spine tingling, or he can make you laugh your ass off, like with the This Is Your Life segment. And for that, I give him a 9. All right. Santa Claus. How about his Babyface work?
His Babyface work was always my favorite. You know, he was a great Babyface. I had to give him a jolly old Saint Nick 10 out of 10.
God.
This is going to be a long podcast.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to stuff some coal right up your... Rusty.
Get right up your Rusty. I like it.
Right up your Rusty Blackwell.
So the fun for me, even when I always felt that Mick, whether he was playing face or heel, that he knew what he was doing and where he was coming from. So it was always like justified. Like the idea of like when you're playing a really good villain well, the person doesn't think they're doing anything wrong. They know why they're doing what they're doing. It just comes across as villainous, right? Because the motivations are clear. So it's similar to, like, in a way, I feel weird saying this, but it's similar to like when I first started wrestling, I was planning on doing a lot more heel work, and everyone that knew me was like, no one's going to believe you're a threatening person. You're too nice.
Right.
And to me, it's like, I feel like Mick's face work is more to his natural character and to his personality as a human being, which is probably why it comes across as more genuine. I don't think that he's actually a malicious person, even though he hurts people very hard or hits people very hard in the ring. It's still like, I don't think he wants to inflict pain on people. I think he's just trying to have a good show and have a good time. So anyway, I'll say 9. We'll keep it fair. I won't go 10.
Too biased.
I won't go too biased. I'm trying so hard.
Shadow, what about you, my man?
We're doing the Babyface, right?
Yeah.
I'm more up for the next part, but for this, I think it's great because, as Rusty said, he's genuine. That's kind of who he is. He plays a lot of himself into his Babyface work. So I'll give it a 9.8. It's not a perfect 10.
Okay. Sammy, how about you?
I'm the same way with Shadow. I think like Babyface or heel, they were both amazing. He did great with both of them. So like I'm doing the same thing with face. I'm doing the same grade with heel. I'm gonna give him a 9 because he was great no matter what he was.
We're just skipping heel for Sammy, I guess.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, and I apologize for me eating. I literally just woke up and I was starving, so I didn't want to be. I was already late, so I didn't want to like eat longer than I had to be. I apologize.
No, you're right.
But yeah, but no, I just have to say that because he is a great both ways, and not a lot of people are like that. So I appreciate that he does that. He was like that.
Mikey P says an 8. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to side with Santa Simp over here and say it's a perfect 10. And I'm going to tell you why. Mick Foley did what Daniel Bryan did before Daniel Bryan did it. People were chanting for Mick Foley in matches that he was not a part of. People were wanting Mick Foley to be pushed to the top, even though he wasn't your stereotypical big, buff, rock-looking dude.
Even though he went off the top, he got pushed to the top.
Yes. He was relatable. He was the everyman. He was what Daniel Bryan's Yes movement was in the late 90s. And if you don't believe me, just go watch the match where he won the WWF title in the Monday Night Wars ratings turn of all time. You know, the big ratings turn that happened. Just go watch that match and watch that crowd and tell me it wasn't one of the most electric crowds you've ever seen in your entire life. That dude was the ultimate babyface, and I will gladly give him a 10. But,
I feel so strange having the lowest score now.
That's what's great about this. It's all opinion based, and you're allowed to have that.
Yeah. It's not too late to change it to a 10, Rusty. You can still change
I'm going to change.
When we did Randy, I was biased the whole time. Okay,
we already did that one, and you were biased the whole time.
That's what I'm saying. I was biased the whole time when we did Randy.
Yeah, no, I'll leave it for the sake of letting us keep going with the conversation.
So, how about his heel work, Santa?
Oh boy, that was tough for me watching old good boy Mick. Sometimes I had to remember that it wasn't real and not check him off on the naughty list. So I have to give his heel work. I loved it. It was believable. Scared me a couple times. Thought he almost died a few times. So I have to give him another 10. Just remember, I had to check him twice and say, he's not really this bad in real life, so he doesn't get the naughty list,
Rusty.
Great. I love this song.
I'll say 9.5. I thought it was I always understood where, no matter who he was playing, no matter what he was doing, I always understood what his motivations were and why he was doing the things he did, and I believed them. And like there's this weird side of me that's like, no matter what character he was playing, even when they were doing something that people wouldn't understand, there was this kind of weird like working class vibe of like, this is just the position that he's put in, and he's kind of coming at it from that place, and it's kind of morbidly relatable. So, and I mean morbidly relatable, that it makes you. I mean, those are the best heels. They're the ones that you're kind of guilty. You feel bad that you're actually kind of rooting for them. Right. You should feel bad, and you sometimes you do. Other times you just cheer for them anyway.
Right. Mikey P says heel is 8 also for him. Mikey, thank you for engaging. Shadow, how about you, my man?
I love the sadistic Mick Foley, so I'm going 10 because every time he got real fucking crazy, it just drew me in even more. It's similar when he was Mankind in a heel. It draws comparison for me to a Bray Wyatt Fiend, because they both just flicked the switch and it was just something.
And there's somebody else, yeah.
It was just always amazing to me, and I wasn't very much on the Cactus Jack heel because it obviously knew it was happening, death matches, etc. Like they were just beating the shit out of each other with that, right? But when it came to Mankind, the Boiler Room matches and all that, when he was just purely out of his mind, 10.
It's always a weird mental state when you realize a heel is right. You know what? Let me sidetrack really quick with that. The perfect feud that I will give to that is CM Punk feud with Jeff Hardy. CM Punk was the heel who was straight edge, didn't drink, didn't do drugs, didn't do anything like that. Jeff Hardy was the guy who has had several DUIs and drug problems. And the babyface was Jeff Hardy in that feud. Explain that to me. Like, what?
I mean, similar to the Jericho CM thing too.
Yeah, like Jericho, they did kind of flip somewhere in the middle there where Jericho ended up being the heel. I actually just saw a segment not too long ago. It was where they tried to make CM Punk do the sobriety test in the middle of the ring. WWE was stupid in 2012, okay? It was really stupid. Like, he called him CM drunk. Like, come on. Anyways, CM Punk. All right. Sammy, we'll go to you for Mick Foley's heel work.
I'm not sure if you remember. I think I said I gave it a 9.
Fair enough. All right, Sammy's.
I'm just kidding. I had to be a little bit heel, I never am.
Yeah, I So I never really got to see peak heel Mick Foley, and and that I hate that because I was too young. So, but seeing his stuff now, and growing up and having access to YouTube and all that, and being able to see the things that he did as a heel, I'm sure it would have scared the living dog shit out of me when I was a little kid. Especially the Kane Dewey one and the one where he's telling women and children not to come watch his matches.
Yeah.
And I mean, the dude was a good heel. And because I couldn't see it in its prime because I was too young, I'm going to say an 8. That's the only reason. Daddy, oh, I did it. What a promo. Yes, another great one. Absolutely. Excuse me. So we'll go with his overall body of work. Santa, what do you think? If you're going to take everything, average it out, give me an overall score for Mick Foley.
Oh, his overall. I know it wasn't so sweet on his wrestling abilities too much, but his promos, his heel work, his face work. We're gonna give it an average. We're gonna give it overall a 9.5. Oh, Santa's gonna still be nice,
Fair enough. Rusty, how about you? Be biased.
So I won't go full score, but I will say, losing teeth, broken bones, losing an ear, and this is that whole thing of like giving to others in the ring, right? So like not everybody gets to be the person who just comes out on top and does all the matches. Some people have to look big and strong and tough and then lose. And that's to me, I feel like Mick Foley might have given more to the industry than some of the people that benefited from Mick Foley. And that's not a jab at anybody. That's just more like, some of them are still in the middle of their careers, right? He is a bigger guy. He did have to retire relatively early because that's what happens. And I wish we would have had more. So there's a part of me that's like, because of that, I'm going to go like, I don't know, 8.8, like really, really middle of the ground, A+ kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Shadow, how about you?
Before I give mine, Rusty, before you became a wrestler yourself, would that have been the same answer? Or now that because you understand the psychology of wrestling and storytelling differently, is that still where you sit with that?
It's 100% different because I know more about wrestling now. Absolutely. Like the idea of what Mick Foley has had to do to himself and for others, as somebody who is as large as he is, and like it's unbelievable. So I really respect that. And I feel like if you would have asked me when I was like a teenager, I would have been like, I don't know, like 7, 6. I liked him, but there was people I liked more. But that's just being a teenager and a fan. Now that I'm older and more like I get sore easier,
Right?
maybe I have maybe my age is kind of a little bit more of the respect part of it too.
Fair enough. Nate, I'm just gonna defer myself for a quick minute. Sammy has to run, so I'll let her give her thing and then let her go.
I'm sorry, having a little emergency. So what was I talking about now?
His overall body of work.
Oh, his overall body work. I feel like he not one of the greatest wrestlers, but one of the greatest like all around, like with the promo, with face, heel, with everything and all that. I would give him out of a 10 or I would say I would give him an 8 all around. And the best match he's ever had was with Randy Orton 2004. Randy Orton beat him. Just had to put that out there. All right.
All right. Thank you, Sammy. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Anyway.
Anyone else see that beer gut walk behind her? That was amazing.
Overall body of work. I'm going to break it up into 2 different things here real quick. As a wrestler, I give it a 6 because he had to do a lot of stupid shit to get himself over and put others over. And I don't think that was fair to his mental state or his body because it probably did put him in a really dark place. Entertainment, it's a 10 because no matter what he did, he killed the fucking shit out of it.
Dude was a born entertainer.
100%. If he wasn't a wrestler, 100% an actor or comedian, he would have nailed it.
Well, if you listen to my fun facts, he is a comedian.
Well, you know what I mean, like a full time, full blown.
I know what you mean. Full blown Matt Rife over here. Just kidding.
That being said, I'm going to average it to about an 8.8, like Rusty. I feel like that's a good. I said 8. I was going to go 8.9, but I didn't want to have the lowest number again, so I evened it out.
Thanks.
Mikey P says overall 9.5, and Pat says an overall 8. Real quick before I give mine, Rusty, I do have one question for you, and it's something that I've kind of been pondering in my head since I started training to wrestle. Every single time I get in the ring, the very first back bump I take, every single time, hurts like a motherfucker. And then after that, I don't feel any of them. Like, is that just me, or is that how it is for you?
It's just you. It's just you.
Well, I feel them, but they don't
I'm worried about you hitting your head, and I worry that you need to take care of your neck and your back more. No,
your chin.
No, it does. I could take when I get in there and I get smashed onto my back. It feels the exact same every time. But I also like, I don't know what to say. There's a conversation that's strange about like when you've had a lot of really intense injuries, how like your pain threshold changes. So like I've broken my neck playing football. I've broken all my limbs. I've broken all my ribs. Like these are just things, but you know, like, so it becomes like you're sore, but in comparison to what, right? Like I've walked into the ER with a broken ankle where my foot was like flopping around, and they had said, so on a scale from 1 to 10, how much does it hurt? I'm like, it's like a 7. And then they went and pulled my shoe off, and it pulled my foot part way off. And they were like, what are you talking about? There's blood everywhere. And I'm like, I didn't expect you to take my shoe off. That was what was holding my foot on. Like,
walks into the hospital. Does this look normal?
Well, they thought I had a skiing injury, but I'm just a big fat guy that was playing basketball. But anyway, sorry. But yeah, so to answer your question, it feels the same. And I do actually, when you say that, when it hurts a lot at the beginning, it makes me worried that you're hurting your neck, and that you're saying it doesn't hurt afterwards because you have a head injury and you're just concussed.
So my coach tells me that he had the same thing when he was my age. Is that when he would take the first one, he would over anticipate it, and he would hit a little too hard, and he thinks that that's what I do also. Because after that, every single one of them feels exactly the same, and it's nothing. But like that first one, for some reason, I'm never like fully prepared for. And so, you know, I'm only a year into it, so you know.
Well, I will say, and this is more of a big heavy guy thing, is that when I don't get it to bump for a while, I start getting tense and achy, and I actually look forward to going and getting in the ring because I feel like it loosens my back up and I walk better afterwards, which is strange. It's like going to the chiropractor is going and doing
it's
wrestling
just chiropractors training. For wrestlers, I guess.
I 100% feel that as well. Like I feel better when I've been in the ring. 100%. So like if I haven't been to practice or anything like that, I feel like, I feel stiff. I feel like I need to get in the ring. I need to at least run the ropes or something. Like get me loosened up.
Sore as hell, got bruises all over, but I feel like $1 million. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So the very first match that I ran, we did a 4-on-4 tag team match, and it was a street fight. So it was everyone was fighting and going crazy, and it was a good way to mask, you know, people's first. So because 3 of us, that was our first match. Wow. And the 4 guys we were against have been doing this for years. So they took control. The guy that I pretty much was paired with the entire match is built exactly like Mick Foley. Like, if he grew his beard out, you would think he was Mick Foley. His name is Nick. He's in his late 40s, so he's up there. And we were just having so much fun with it. And again, he was a very selfless performer as well, where he's like, dude, smack the shit out of me. Like
totally.
Yep. And I got to hit a dude over the head with a cymbal. It was cool. but
With a symbol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was his idea because he's a drummer. He's built like me. The guy that I hit with the cymbal, we're about the same size. He's a little shorter than me, but we're both built pretty much the same. And when we were going over the match, he's like, I have a cymbal in my car that I just took off my drum set and replaced with a new one. Hit me in the head with it. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, hit me with that fucker. I'm like, all right. And like, I have a video of it. I'll have to show you, but it was so motherfucking loud. But anyways, back to thank you for answering that question, by the way. We kind of got a little sidetracked, but
Yeah, sorry about that.
no, that's all right. That was kind of on me. Back to the Mick Foley discussion. Overall, I'd give him probably an 8.5. I feel like I'm a little bit on the low scale, but that's just because I didn't get to see a lot of his heel work, and I do hate that. But when you're talking about the greatest superstars from the Attitude Era, Rock and Austin are obviously the first two you're going to think of. Triple H, Undertaker, a little bit of Shawn Michaels. You could argue that the Montreal Screwjob kind of kicked the Attitude Era into gear.
Mick Foley is not one of the top 5 in that conversation when you're talking about it, unfortunately.
He should be.
He should be, but he's not.
He's not the first person people think of until they really start thinking about it.
Yeah.
If it's right off your first, you think about the guys who were the most marketable, like Rock and Austin and The Undertaker. And then you start to think about it, and like, those guys benefited so much from being in the ring with Mick Foley that you can argue that their careers would not be anywhere near as successful as they were without Mick Foley. Triple H, absolutely. Undertaker, absolutely. Even The Rock benefited from Mick Foley. That whole tag team they had, the This Is Your Life segment, definitely, and the match that they had on Monday Night Raw. Like,
the empty arena match.
What's that?
The empty arena match. That's really
underrated. The empty arena match was a halftime heat during the Super Bowl, wasn't it?
Super underrated match.
Oh yeah, I watched that match the first week that I had the WWE Network, because it was they didn't have all the pay-per-views on there, but they had that match. I watched. It was a lot of fun. The Backwoods Butcher. All right. With that being said, before we sign off, Shadow, where can we find you, my guy?
You can find me on Off the Top Media, Rivet City Radio, doing Ringside Chatter. You catch it when we drop it. It's typically Mondays now at least for the foreseeable future, as we all have busy schedules. We talk everything hockey related. Sorry for the interruption. Returns in January, where we don't even care that we interrupt your night, but we'll be bringing that attitude back in the new year. So get ready for it. And if you care, I don't really drop much anymore, but you can catch me on TikTok at that guy Shadow.91.
All right. Santa Claus, where can we find you besides the North Pole, sticking it with your candy cane to Mrs. Claus?
Oh, you can find me on Christmas in your mom's house unloading the sack.
Okay. And again, I want to give a big special thanks to our very first time guest here, Rusty Blackwell. Rusty, where can we find you at, my guy?
You can check me out at rustyblackwell.com. You can I've got a couple shows. Yeah, that's where it's at. Got to keep busy. Got to represent. So I'm going to be touring with the Canadian Wrestling Elite in Sudbury and Chigang First Nation out on Manitoulin Island in January, as well as a big show with Northland Wrestling on January 20th. January 20th. Oh no. Oh boy.
Don't worry, I won't tell Dan.
don't tell Dan. On January 20th, I'll be at a big show in North Bay, Ontario. So check out Northland Wrestling on Facebook. Check out Canadian Wrestling Elites, and look for more in 2024. Oh my!
Yeah, we're getting there. But before Nate closes, you guys, if you have a chance, well, any of these guys are touring from Northland, make sure you hit up their shows. I love them all. They're great. They've been on the network. They're great guests. I appreciate talking to all of them. Just check them out and give them support. Show them that you're paying attention and give them some love.
All right. And before we sign off, real quick, you can find me on TikTok, Nate McNamara WB. That's pretty much all I do right now is just this and occasionally TikTok. I don't even go live on TikTok anymore, but I'll start popping in every now and again if Shadow's not being a racist.
I'll explain
Oh,
it after,
gosh.
Rusty.
Not a good shadow.
But again, before you finish, if you guys want to check out Rusty and Tommy's interview with myself, head over to our YouTube and you can listen to their journeys to becoming pro wrestlers.
All right. And Career Retrospective will return in January as well. We're going to take a holiday break, so we'll probably take a good 3 weeks off or so. We'll see you guys back in January. Hope everyone has a great holiday, a Merry Christmas. And before we sign off, Santa Claus, I need you to give me a nice ho, ho, ho.
Oh, 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 oh.
That was terrible. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.